There are thousands of DOS games. Most of them are terrible. I play one selected at random with a 20-minute time limit and record it live. This is the result. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another random DOS game show. And this is suitably spacey. Here it comes. Frontier. That's right. It's Frontier, the sequel to Elite. I have a vague idea of what to do with the keys, and I fully expect this to not only go 20 minutes, but to be an absolute disaster as well. So, we'll give it a go and we'll see what happens, okay? So, we have the select start position, and that is essentially, hey, where do you want to go at the beginning of Frontier? So let's pick Ross 154 because that's the recommended start position. And it's worth pointing out that Mr. Braben here programmed it all. One man, I believe, but the PC version was programmed by Chris Sawyer of Transport and Roller Coaster Tycoon fame. So, we are sat on a planet called Ross 154, I think it was. And it's nice and scenic. There's little habitation domes, and we can get a look. There's our rear, external view, and so on, with the camera there. And yeah, it looks fairly ordinary. There's no amazing music going on or anything, until you get a little deeper into the game, and then you suddenly realize, oh, good grief. So, what you're looking at here is the system. Just the current system that you're in, you know. There's Sol over there, Alpha Centauri, Ross 154, and it'll slowly dawn on you. This is fully, like, degrees in terms of the galaxy, you know. There's stuff below you, stuff above you, and this is just a relative plane to help you sort of navigate. And the other thing that we'll soon explore, I'll leave that for now, I believe. Let's just see if we can click on... See, this is one that's going to take a lot of thinking and wondering about. I believe there was a system on the way to Sol. There it is. Sorry for the jerkiness of the mouse. Barnard Star. Now, I don't know how to click on that or do anything. There's all kinds of icons here. So it takes a lot of figuring out. The other thing that's worth noting is that it's a real-time game. It's paused at the minute, I believe. But we can hit play, and there it goes, real-time. Now, we could take off, but Frontier is a game about whatever you want to make it about. You can be a space trader, you can be a sort of exploration person, you could be a pirate, you know, the choice is yours. But before we take off, we need to get on the old telephone here. We'll do that. So this is Sirico Station, and they have a series of services that they can offer. So this is worth exploring. Every planet or station or whatever will have this kind of thing. And right at the top there is an important one. That's your launch request. You can't just take off willy-nilly off a planet. Just like in an airport, say if you had a private jet, which I assume some of you great subscribers do have, you'd need a request from, you know, air traffic control to take off in the first place. You can't just grab a runway and hope for the best. The shipyard, we'll just explore that. You can upgrade your ship, you can repair or service your ship, you can get a new ship, or you can contact the local police. And it says there what for. And that's the thing with the takeoff. So if you do an unauthorized takeoff, the planet will just radio you and say, hey, that was illegal. You now have a fine in this system. And since we only have 100 cash, we can't really afford that fine. So we will play it nice and straight. Let's see. We can hit the red phone to go back, I believe. Let's have a look at this bulletin board. Wanted. Passage for a small group to the Delta Pavonis system. We'll pay 700. Hey, that's a lot more than the cash we have, right? Ship required. Payment of 540 for passage. Missing person. So need to go into the system and find somebody. And luxury goods. That is a lot better paying than the rest of them. And it makes you sort of wonder, what sort of luxury goods are we talking here? Is this a trap? Is this piracy? Who knows, Would Syracuse Station, be aligned with the pirates? Would they be interested in that kind of thing? And then finally, we've got the stock market. Yes, there's an actual stock market with price per ton and how much stock they've got and different prices, presumably, for different things, So we only have 100 cash. So we have 3 cargo space, but 1 is used. And it's just enormous. People will have played the spiritual successor to this, Elite Dangerous. Well, just imagine Elite Dangerous, but in the early 90s. And even then, it's mind-blowing. Just the scope of what's available here. Not on the Syracuse Station services. I'll show you now. I should, get some cargo or whatever. But, should I pick up some cargo? Yeah, let's go to the stock market. There is a way. I was looking at a video of this because, quite frankly, you couldn't, just jump in and, hope for the best and figure everything out. I know it takes away some of the spontaneity of these videos, but I would be sat here not having a clue otherwise. I believe there's a way to select a specific planet, but one of the problems with the early 90s design is that there's no tooltips. You needed to read the manual, and the manual for Frontier Elite 2 is 100 pages. I mean, I could have a quick reference guide open elsewhere, but I don't. So let's randomly click on this button. So that's telling us about the current system, ROS 154. Okay. That's zoom in, zoom out. Okay. Let's zoom out, just give you an idea. So that little pink circle, that's where we can travel to. Okay. That's within our current sphere of travel. And you'll see the little pink lines. There's just one at the minute, I think, because we're landed. It's already, you've got all these places that you could potentially go to. There's Wolf 630. That was on the thing. And then it's just so in-depth. I think if you go to the tool option, you can add or remove certain elements of a map if you want to focus on specific things. And then if you hit 10, look at that. It's a galaxy map showing the various stars and nebula. It's absolutely nuts in its scope. And I'll just show you now, hopefully just show you how nuts it can be instead of prevaricating. I believe that's the correct term. So if we go to the stock market, let's just buy some fruit and veg. We have none in stock. Oops. So let's get some animal meat. Buying animal meat. So we've a ton of animal meat in our cargo hold. Hopefully that won't go bad. We've used 2 cargo space, we've 2 remaining, but we've used almost all our cash doing that. Okay? So we'll go back here and we'll have a launch request. Clearance granted, seal airlocks and prepare for launching. Okay. So this is gonna go very, very badly. Let's try it here. Take off. Okay. So altitude is increasing. And I hit the enter button. And we are away. Now, we'll want to put our flight things up. The, what do you call them? The wheels, you know. I forget the name. Flight sim enthusiasts can tell me. And we'll just increase that over there. And let us change the camera angle. So you can see there we are departing. Goodbye! And there's a nice sort of third-person view, should you feel that way inclined. Let's just switch, and you'll see, right, okay, it's fading away, very nice. You could probably get more frames if you turned down certain details or turned up your cycles count. This'll do for now. I just went with the default configuration, you know. And we're heading into space. Okay. Now, keep in mind, this is early 90s technology. Let's just speed things up a little bit here. I'm holding down enter. I think that's the right thing to do. Hopefully I don't run out of fuel on the takeoff. So, really blasting away from the planet. And if we look down now... Oh! That is an entire planet. Now, not only is that an entire planet, but that's the actual, like, size of a planet. When you see that gas giant over there? Let's just turn. See that one that looks a little bit like Saturn? That is the actual size of a planet. So when you're looking at the space and the coordinates and the gravitational pull, yes, there's real physics and Newtonian stuff going on here in terms of how your craft moves. That's all to scale. And I think it may be the first game to ever do that. Now, I know subsequent games may well have, done that. But if we look back here, look at that. It's absolutely vast. It's difficult to sort of give you a sense of scale with the graphics that are going on. But in terms of a DOS game, that is just... Let's see if we can just look at It's huge! It's as close as you get in the early 90s to actually flying in space. And you can see, like, the atmosphere of the planet as well and everything, The question now is, where do we go from here? Oh, look, the star. Look at that. That is so sweet. But it's a very specific game for a very specific type of person. So let's have a look at our map. So we've pulled away a little bit from our planet, but it's at this point that I'm really going to start to struggle, because it is one of those where you need to seriously consult the manual, and if you're not into the nitty-gritty of figuring everything out, then you're going to be in trouble. So there's ship equipment status. Okay, that's good to know. What about us? Commander Jameson. And you can see your legal and military standing. So the reputations that you have throughout the galaxy will change. And I wish I knew how to use the hyperdrive. That would be useful. What about this? I don't... Is that describing the things around? Oh, I just shot randomly in space. But fortunately, I'm far enough away from the planet now. Look, there it is. That they didn't find me. If you shoot on the planet, they'll say, hey, you're not allowed to do that. And they'll fine you. And if you refuse to pay the fine or can't afford the fine, you're in trouble. Okay, that turned the engines off. I think we're in manual... Ah, right. Engines off, manual control there. You know, it's one of those where this is the bit where Lawnie is like, right, we've seen all we need to see from Lawnie here. Now, to look it up from somebody who's actually played the game to figure out what on earth to do next. Let's see, if I hit escape. Oh wow, look at that. So we got a whole pile of options here. And apparently, there's... Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a bit better than engine noise, isn't it? In the Hall of a Mountain King. Okay. And I believe it's paused because I went to the menu. Yes. So if you want, you can have Sound Blaster renditions of classical music as you stare into the depths and vastness of space. Look at that, there's Aster. Hello, Aster. And Willow is over there. Okay, we really need to figure out how to use the hyperdrive. I'm going to turn off the continuous music. And I'm going to turn off the engine sound. And we're just going to be quiet for just a little bit to see if I can figure this out. So you switch between your armaments and the relative, like, what's around you radar screen. Clicking there. There must be a way to activate the hyperdrive. Oh, warning! Undercarriage down. It may be damaged by micrometeorites. So if you put your landing gear down in space, it'll be like, nope, sorry, bad idea. Engines off, manual control. Broadcast message to all in range. No, we don't want to say anything to people. We've got the inventory there. We've got fuel and we've got animal meat. I think it comes from here. I think we need to figure out, like, say we want to go to Barnard Star. I'm clicking on that, but nothing's happening, you know? Let's see. What if we hit Sol? Huh. It just went back to Ross 154 again. I think I'm reaching the point now where I don't know where to go from here. And that could be a problem. So I think I'll leave it here. Just to save people having to watch me play this for, like, you know, a few more minutes floundering around. So I shall go to the menu. We'll turn on some nice classical music. There we are. And there we've exited. So, what is Frontier? Frontier is one of the most ambitious games I think I've ever seen. It is essentially Elite Dangerous, but for DOS. Before Elite Dangerous, before the X series, before anything like that, they were making space games in the early 90s with real gravity, real Newtonian physics, and it's essentially an open world, sandboxy kind of trading game where you can go where you want, do as you please, build up a reputation as either a cutthroat mercenary or just a simple trader or whatever. The biggest selling point, I think, is the fact that you can do what I did in that opening 20 minutes. And that is, well, it's being shown on the screen. Go from space through the atmosphere of a full-sized planet and land in a docking area that is actually rendered, and do it seamlessly, just going from planet to space and vice versa. I think it was the Outer Wilds recently was released in the last few years, and people were like overwhelmed by it, thinking, wow, you can leave a planet and go into space and it's all seamless. What was that other one? No Man's Sky. You know, that was released and that was the next big thing and everything. And Frontier here is doing all of that, except in 1992, 93, somewhere around there. And it's absolutely ridiculous that it did it in the space of a floppy disk. It's incredible. And it really shows the inventiveness and the imagination of those DOS developers back in the day. And of course, the PC conversion by Chris Sawyer is seamless. While it's not a game that I would particularly play, I'm not much for these open-ended trading sims or whatever, it's still one that I can dip into at any point and just be blown away by. It will rightfully be in my top 25. And if you like me talking about random DOS games, I do it all the time. Usually I do a bit better than this. Feel free to take a look at hundreds of other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, you can always subscribe. And if you are a frontier explorer and have some cash from trading to spare, you could become one of my fine patrons. Look at those great names. So yeah, Frontier lived up to the hype. Brilliant, brilliant idea. Interesting execution. And I think it's a sort of game you could lose yourself in forever if you're not careful. Until next time.